Welcome back to True Life Lessons. Today we travel to a quiet village to uncover why silence is often the loudest key to success. In this small, close-knit community, privacy was a rare luxury. Everyone knew everyone else's business, and rumors traveled faster than the wind itself. Mary was a young woman of 20, living a simple life. She observed the noise around her but chose to keep her thoughts inside. Her motivation was waiting on the porch. Her grandmother was growing older and weaker every day, needing better care than they could currently afford. Mary felt the weight of responsibility in her grandmother's trembling hands. She knew she needed to change their destiny, but she needed a plan. In contrast, her friend Shara loved the spotlight. Shara believed that sharing her dreams with the world was the first step to achieving them. Shara announced to everyone that she would open the finest tea shop in the county. She basked in the immediate praise and validation. One afternoon, Shara told Mary that she should also announce her plans. She argued that public accountability would force them to work harder daily. Mary disagreed silently. She felt that dreams were fragile things. Exposing them too early was like pulling a plant up to check its roots. Shara spent her days seeking advice. She asked the baker about colors and the blacksmith about tea leaves, valuing every opinion over her own. But soon, the advice became a flood. One neighbor said tea was outdated, while another insisted she should sell coffee or pastries instead. Shara became paralyzed by the noise. She changed her plan a dozen times to please everyone, losing sight of her original, beautiful vision. Meanwhile, Mary began her mission in the shadows. She bought fine threads and needles, telling no one about the masterpiece she intended to create. Every night, while the village slept, Mary worked. She was learning the ancient art of embroidery, a skill that required immense patience and focus. It was not easy. Her fingers bled and her eyes strained in the dim light. Yet, she did not complain or seek sympathy outdoors. The villagers noticed her fatigue. Since she told them nothing, they assumed she was lazy, staying up late doing nothing productive or meaningful. Shara found Mary and excitedly announced a new direction. She was now opening a bakery because the mayor's wife said it was more profitable. Mary tried to warn her friend. She whispered that listening to too many voices drowns out your own intuition, but Shara was not listening. Mary knew a universal truth: a seed grows best in the dark. If you constantly dig it up to show others, it dies. Months passed, and the seasons changed. The vibrant green of summer faded into the gold of autumn, marking the passage of wasted time. Shara had not laid a single brick. She was exhausted from debating with neighbors about location, decor, and menus, trapped in a cycle of talk. In the quiet corner of her cottage, Mary's skills were blooming. Her clumsy stitches had transformed into elegant, flowing lines of artistic beauty. Her grandmother's health declined further. The sound of her coughing fueled Mary's determination to finish her portfolio and find a buyer in the city. The village gossip turned cruel. They called Mary a burden to her grandmother, unaware that she was working 18 hours a day in secret. It hurt Mary to be misunderstood. She wanted to scream the truth, to show them her work, but she remembered her promise of silence. Shara finally broke down. She told Mary that the criticism had destroyed her confidence. She had abandoned her dream to avoid further judgment. Mary offered comfort, but kept her secret. She learned from Shara's failure that protecting one's vision is the most vital part of success. Winter arrived, blanketing the village in silence. The cold forced everyone indoors, giving Mary the final stretch of privacy she desperately needed. By the warmth of the hearth, Mary stitched the final details. It was a tapestry depicting the village itself, but seen through loving eyes. Her hands moved with the grace of a master. A year of silent practice had turned a novice into an artist of exceptional caliber. It was finished. Mary held up her year of work. It was not just fabric. It was her voice, her defense, and her future. She packed her work with care. She did not run to the neighbors to show it. Instead, she prepared to send it to the city. She mailed her portfolio to a famous fashion house in the city. She returned home and continued to care for her grandmother in silence. The waiting was the hardest part. The village still saw a girl who did nothing, but Mary now carried a quiet, burning confidence inside. Then the silence was broken. A luxury car from the city rolled into the village, stirring up dust and immediate curiosity among the locals. The villagers gathered, buzzing with excitement. They assumed such important guests could only be visiting the mayor or the wealthiest merchant in town. To everyone's shock, the car did not stop at the mansion. It pulled up directly in front of Mary's small, weathered wooden home. A representative from the city's top fashion house stepped out. She looked out of place, yet she approached Mary's door with great respect. Mary opened the door. The woman shook her hand vigorously, thanking her for the incredible samples and offering a contract immediately on the spot. The visitor spoke loud enough for the crowd to hear. She praised Mary's unique talent, calling her embroidery the finest she had ever seen. Shara stood frozen in the crowd. She realized that while she was talking about success, Mary had been quietly building it, stitch by stitch. Mary did not boast. She simply smiled at her neighbors, closed her door, and returned to her work. Her results had spoken for her. With the advance payment, Mary repaired the cottage. She made it warm and safe for her grandmother, fulfilling the dream she held so dear. Her grandmother's health improved with better care and warmth. The house was no longer filled with worry, but with the peace of security. Shara visited Mary, humbled by the turn of events. She asked Mary how she managed to achieve so much without anyone knowing about it. Mary shared her secret. She explained that energy is finite. When you spend it talking about your plans, you have none left to execute them. She reminded Shara of how the village's opinions had confused her. By keeping silent, Mary had protected her vision from doubt and negativity. Mary gave Shara a small gift to start over. She advised her friend to build her next dream in the quiet sanctuary of her heart. Shara understood, finally. She realized that validation should come from the result of the work, not from the announcement of the intention. Mary continued to work. Her fame grew, but she remained humble. She let her exquisite tapestries travel the world while she stayed grounded. The village whispers changed. They no longer spoke of her laziness, but of her genius. Silence had turned their criticism into pure applause. Standing on the hill, Mary realized that her silence was her shield. It allowed her to grow strong roots before facing the storms. Like a mighty oak tree, she had grown in silence. Now that she was tall and strong, no amount of wind could shake her. Shara learned her lesson too. She opened a small bakery, but this time she let the smell of fresh bread be her only advertisement. The two friends sat together, enjoying the quiet. They realized that true connection doesn't need constant noise, and true success doesn't need constant praise. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. In a world that never stops talking, there is immense power in closing your mouth and working. Your goals are precious. Protect them from the negativity and doubts of others. Do not let the world touch your seeds before they sprout. Remember that empty vessels make the loudest noise. Be the treasure chest that is silent, but filled with gold and value waiting to be discovered. Success is a journey of patience. It requires the discipline to delay gratification, to forego the cheap thrill of instant attention for lasting reward. As spring returned, the village thrived. It was a reminder that every cold winter of hard work is followed by a warm spring of harvest. Shara and Mary found their own paths. They proved that while words can be entertaining, only action creates reality and builds a life worth living. If you have a dream today, lock it in your heart. Work on it in the shadows until it is too big to hide. Let your work be your voice. Let your achievements be your argument. And let your success be the noise that finally shakes the world. There is no greater satisfaction than looking back at a finished masterpiece that no one believed in because no one knew it even existed. Silence is not weakness, it is a container for power. Use it to build, to grow, and to surprise everyone who doubted you. So next time you feel the urge to announce your plans, stop. Channel that energy into the first step of action instead of words. Build your castle in silence. When the gates finally open, the world will not just hear you, they will stand in awe of you. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope Mary's story inspires you to embrace the quiet power within your own life today. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs encouragement. Your support helps us tell more stories that matter. This has been True Life Lessons. Remember to work hard in silence and let your massive success be your only noise. Goodbye for now. Goodbye.